One of the easiest ways to change the look of your Arcade1Up game cabinets is by applying vinyl decals. These are custom graphics printed on commercial-grade vinyl and are available from a number of sources. I've already added new graphics to enhance my Simpsons and Ms Pac-Man cabinets, and I use them to completely change the look of my Marvel pinball table. I decided that my Space Invaders game with its plain black base could use a graphics upgrade as well. I ordered a 6-piece set from Gulf Coast Decals off of Etsy.com. Gulf Coast also offers a wide selection of custom arcade vinyl products on its website, gcdecals.com. The decals come in a shipping tube, and it's best to unroll them and let the vinyl relax for a day or two before installing it. I learned that lesson the hard way on my Ms Pac-Man cabinet when I tried to install the decals straight from the tube. You'll know they're ready when you place them face up and they lay flat all on their own. This set includes decals for the J panel, kick plate, and 3 sides of the base, along with matching trim. To apply the decals, I removed the control deck from the game, then slid out the J panel and the kick plate. I then removed the cabinet from its riser base. I started with the base decals by cleaning the surface using a microfiber cloth. I've never understood Arcade1Up's reason for placing the dip along the front of the riser. On plain base cabinets, I swap the front and back panels for a cleaner look. Sometimes you can dress up the plain black panel with vinyl graphics, as I did on my Simpsons cabinet. And since I was starting from scratch with new graphics on Space Invaders, I did that here as well. Gulf Coast cuts the vinyl to size for you, so as long as you line up the top edge, you should get a perfect fit. Starting with the base front decal, I peeled away approximately 1.5 inches of backer along the top. I then lined up the right corner and lightly tacked the decal along the top edge of the base, making sure it was straight. Next, I pressed it in place with a microfiber cloth to seat it. I then flipped the decal over and peeled away another 2 inches of backer. At this point, you can work your way down the panel by slowly peeling away more backer and seating the vinyl with a microfiber cloth as you go. If you get a wrinkle, you can carefully pull up that part of the decal and try again. With the front seated, I rolled the base over and repeated the process on both sides. I carefully watched for air bubbles and wrinkles as I worked, making sure to deal with them before continuing. Because the sides of the base didn't fit flush with the front, I wound up with unsightly edges. I decided I'd get a better result by folding the side decal behind the front and back panels. Since the front panel already had its decal in place, I needed to cut out the screw holes to remove it. I used my thumb to locate the dimple for each screw hole, then used a sharp hobby knife to remove the vinyl over it. With the screws exposed, I removed them from the front panel and then removed the panel itself, as well as the centering pegs. I then carefully folded over the side panel's vinyl and cut holes so I could replace the pegs later. I did the same thing for the back panel as well, and then replaced both. The folded edges produced a much cleaner look. Speaking of edges, Gulf Coast Decals provides matching color trim for the Space Invaders cabinet. These are pre-cut strips that simply need to be applied over the existing black trim on the base. At the corners along the front, I used the longest piece of trim possible and folded it over on the sides to prevent the corner edges from peeling up easily. With its vinyl complete, the finished base looked 100% better. Applying decals to the 2 front panels worked almost exactly the same way, starting with the top edges. These decals are sized so that about 1/8 of an inch of the side edges of the J panel and kick plate are exposed. This allows the 2 panels to easily slide back into the 2 slots cut into the cabinet. After centering the J panel's decal and checking to make sure I had adequate exposure on both sides, I applied it with a microfiber cloth, smoothing it onto the surface and eliminating air bubbles as I went along. The Space Invaders title is split between the J panel and the kick plate, and there's a small amount of overlap from one to the other. I made sure to align it properly with the bottom edge of the J panel so that the printing continued cleanly. I then used the microfiber cloth to seat the top edge of the kick plate and applied the decal normally. Before returning the kick plate to the cabinet, make sure the 2 notches on the bottom are clear of overhanging vinyl. If you need to clear them, use a sharp hobby knife to cut away the excess material. With all the graphics applied, I reassembled the cabinet. The new decals really improved the look of Space Invaders, and I'm amazed at how well the yellow base trim matches that used on the cabinet itself. This is an easy project that will take you about an hour to complete, and there's a wealth of options available through Gulf Coast Decals and other suppliers, allowing you to enhance the look of your existing cabinets or change their appearance completely. For more easy Arcade1Up modification videos, check out my YouTube channel, Pop Art Studios, and watch for other new projects on this Space Invaders cabinet coming soon.